Hi students, Professor Laney again. We are here to talk about Unit 2. So as I introduce this unit, this is the first time we're going to go a little bit out of order in the book, so I want to put that out there right at the beginning. We're going to do Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 just as the book outlines it, but then we're going to jump to Chapters 9 and 10. And the reason I do this is that these particular chapters, they start to talk about a specific disability. We're not going to be talking about history and linguistics and cultural issues, things like that anymore. We're going to actually talk about specific disabilities. So this group of disabilities tends to kind of show up together or have similarities. And so I moved the book a little bit out of order on that purpose. So number 5, speech and language disorders, our largest category. We're going to have, that's the first thing that's going to show up with kids when they have a soft R or they say like baby talk and things like that. So you'll see speech and language things show up rather early. So I want to start right with that out of the gate. 6, learning disabilities, another very, very large category. But that doesn't really show up until kids start to learn. We don't know how they're learning math and English and sentences and writing until what, first grade? So you won't see a learning disability show up right away. So these two things can go hand in hand, but this one comes first, speech, and then learning disabilities may show up later. Then we jump to Chapter 9, intellectual disabilities. That's the more politically correct term for mentally retarded. That used to be more of a term that was common a few years ago. But think about it. It's not retarded. It's just a disabled or a different type of brain here. So it's just somebody whose cognition is a little bit lower than average, but they still have a lot of gifts, and I really have a soft spot in my heart for this chapter because I do have a family member who had Down syndrome. So I grew up with that, and so that's part of my culture. And to me, the gifts outweighed the struggles. So again, that's a little piece of my heart right there for you. And then Unit 2 rounds out with Chapter 10, physical disabilities. These are some of the things that we can see with our eyes. These are kids in a wheelchair, or kids with crutches, or kids that have maybe a limb problem or certain things that have physical disabilities. And so the trick here is not to let your eyes fool you. Just because a child has a limp or a shorter arm or is in a wheelchair or uses crutches doesn't mean that their brain, their cognition is disabled as well. So I think that is something that kind of tricks people a little bit because we do have these natural biases as human beings. And if I see somebody who's disabled, they must be all disabled. And that is not true. So it is part of my job to open your eyes, your mind, and your heart to the possibility and the probability that kids, again, with full inclusion and full mainstreaming, are going to be in a wheelchair in a typical classroom. And that's how it should be. And that's the law. So again, this is your Unit 2, 5, 6, 9, and 10. All right. I will see you in the virtual world. And after this, you're going to have a Unit 2 exam, and we'll be halfway through at the end of this. So pretty cool, right? See you soon.